Going to call Tracy Martin.
I want to take a quick call on behalf of New Zealand First, just with regard to clarify our reasons for opposition and to be very clear so that the public is very clear about New Zealand's First stand on this. And I wasn't on the Select Committee, but Mr Fletcher Tabato has briefed the caucus incredibly well on this very, very important bill. And so with regard to the clauses, which is the substantive amount of the bill and what the bill actually does, one of the things that New Zealand First has clearly identified is, and it has been articulated by members of the government, that the majority of actions that supposedly this bill allows are already in legislation, can already be used. And if not by the SIS, then the SIS can go and see the police, and the police can actually go and arrest people. So therefore, there is no need for those clauses. They can already be used. So it takes us down to two clauses, Mr Chair, two clauses that are not there. And that is the one, which is the passport clause, which we have already heard about, which is this extension from 1 year to 3 years. And what we know is, we've already heard it from Labour Party, from the Green Party, from New Zealand First, that the 1 year ability to withdraw somebody's passport, cancel somebody's passport for 1 year, can be renewed at the cost to the state as opposed to the cost to the citizen to have to fight to get their passport back should it be cancelled for 3 years. So in our view, there's a movement of cost here, prove yourself innocent rather than the state having to prove you guilty. But the state has the ability to cancel a passport for 1 year and to roll it over. And it's never been extended. It's never been extended. That was the question asked and that was the question answered. And the chair of that select committee knows that. So we can take away, let's just remove the fact that we don't need the 3-year clause around passports because we have this other ability. What are we left with, Mr Chair? We're left with video surveillance. We're left with the single thing that is not covered in any other piece of legislation, which is required, the bill says required, to protect our citizens. Now, that is it is a major issue for New Zealand First, particularly when part of that let's have video surveillance comes down to trust us. Trust us because the Inspector General has increased powers, and yet New Zealand First asked for an oversight committee made up of senior politicians to, within 48 hours, be able to double-check that. Because if you have a look at the supposed increased powers of the Inspector General, she can go and report to the Minister and to the Prime Minister, but she cannot. If they refuse to accept her recommendations, she can go no further. So it's hardly about trusting the Inspector General. It comes back to trusting the Prime Minister and the Minister. So that in itself is an issue for widening video surveillance of your citizens. And we now hear that there was a review of this to create this bill, and let's keep it that way, Mr Mitchell. Let's keep it transparent and let's be honest with the people of New Zealand, shall we? Let's be honest with the people of New Zealand. There was actually a review done that nobody knew about, but apparently the government did. During the election period, there was a review done that has now apparently informed this bill, but nobody knew about it, and this bill arrives after the election, and the word trust us is used. The word trust us is used. So we won't trust it, Mr Chair. We don't believe, and there is a review to go forward next year. Now, and there is another review. The fact that every single thing can be done that this bill asks to be done except video surveillance, and there is a review next year which should take the proper course and allow the New Zealand public to truly, transparently and honestly have a look at what we are being asked to pass here about their rights. New Zealand First will not curtail that process. We will not support this bill until there is that full review and video surveillance is fully discussed.